children, let us study the adaptations for ingestion of food in plants. As per the modes of ingestion of food in the plants, they are differently classified, and we will see the examples and their mode of nutrition in some plants. For example, the first one we will take the dodder or cuscuta. In that, it is the parasitic plant and it has the parasitic mode of nutrition. Parasite means it depends on other plant for its nutrition, and it cannot prepare its own food because it cannot perform photosynthesis. That's why it is not green in color also. It is a parasitic plant and it consists of yellow wire-like stems. Because of these yellow stems, they are not green in color and it cannot perform photosynthesis because it lacks chlorophyll, that is the green pigment which helps in the process of photosynthesis. It is leafless and can't perform photosynthesis, that we have already studied, and it has sucking roots for absorbing nutrients from host plants. Sucking roots, that means it has the roots. For example, it has yellow wire-like tendrils and it has the sucking roots, and because of that sucking roots, what happens? These are also called hostorial roots, and these hostorial roots, they helps to absorb the nutrients from the host plant. It gets nutrients from the host plant because it remains dependent on the host plant for its nutrition. That's why it has to absorb nutrients from that plant, and it can absorb by sucking from that plant. That's why it has sucking roots called hostorial roots. Thank you. Now the second example is fungi. Fungus is the singular of that and the plural of fungus becomes fungi, like nucleus, nuclei, radius, radi. Like that, cactus, cacti, like that. Fungus, the plural of fungus is fungi. So fungi cannot perform photosynthesis as they don't have chlorophyll. We know that when we keep the bread or chapati or bhakri for 2 to 3 days and we forget to see it. After that, when we see after 2 to 3 days, what happens? There is white growth of something. You must have seen that, and that white growth, it is nothing but fungus. Development of fungus is there, and these fungi, they are white in color sometimes, and these fungi cannot perform photosynthesis because they do not have green colored pigment named chlorophyll. We have seen that prefixes play very important role in science. In this, chloro is the prefix, that means green. That's why chlorophyll is the pigment that is green in color, and it is very important in the process of photosynthesis. Now, they get food from chapati or bread. That's why they grow on it, because they want some host, and because of that they grow on that chapati, bread, bhakri, etc. Starchy substances, and from that they get their food, and they have root-like fibers to absorb their food. How can they absorb their food? With the help of that fibers, and that's why root-like fibers are there to absorb their food. In this way, we have also studied about the fungi in detail. Now we will switch on to the next plant, that is insect eater plant, or it can also be called as insectivorous plant. Insectivorous plant in Marathi it is called Kitak Bhakshi Vanaspati because it eats insects. That's why it is called insectivorous plant. Now the examples of these insectivorous plants are Drosera or sundew. Drosera, Dabindu in Marathi it is also called Dabindu, that's why it is called sundew. Venus flytrap, pitcher plant. Pitcher plant in Marathi it is called Ghataparni Vanaspati. Ghataparni, pitcher means gut, and it has the leaf like that kalash. That's why it is called pitcher plant. these plants, why do they eat insect? It is the main question. You must have thought. What is the reason behind this? Why should they eat insect? Because they grow in that soil that is deficient in nitrogen. They do not get nitrogen, and nitrogen is very essential for their growth. That's why they should get the nitrogen from the soil. But that soil does not have nitrogen in it. That's why they take nitrogen by eating insects. When the insect sits on that pitcher or that Venus flytrap plant, at that time what happens? There is some modification in that structure. I will show you in the slides also, and in slides we will see what is the structural modification of that plant. When it seeds, it attracts the insects by its aroma, by its fragrance, by its attractive appearance, by its colorful look. The insect gets attracted towards it. It sits on it very pleasantly. But what happens? It is caught by that plant. It catches it and then it engulfs it, and because of that, after some time there is death of that insect, because that insect eater plants engulfs it, and that's why they get nitrogen by eating that insect. That's why they are called insect eater plants. Very easy. Thank you. Children, for better understanding, let us watch the videos of these insectivorous plants. See, first was Venus flytrap, this is sundew or Drosera, and this is pitcher plant. Dear children, let us study adaptations in some plants. For example, carrots and beetroots, they are the roots. There is adaptation. Also, in elephant foot yam, that means suran, as well as potato, the fruit is the part of the stem. As well as in bitter gourd and grapes, the grapevine and climbers are there. This is the adaptation. Also, in case of onions, onions are nothing but the parts of the leaves. In aloe vera, as we have studied, fleshy green stem is there with spines. In water hyacinth, spongy, thin and flexible stem.